Jack,
Just spell
Jackie,
your name.
sure. P as in Peter, E, U, dash, capital D as in David, U, V as in Victor, A, L, L, O, N as in Nancy. Jackie Prudu-Vallon. You can just call me Jackie.
Okay, speak to us.
Okay, great. So hello, committee members. Thank you for hearing this application tonight. My name is Jackie Prudu-Vallon, preservation consultant for this project. I'm here tonight with Noelle Withers of Volunteers of America, and with the architect for this project, Hake Astruamian. I'm so sorry, I'm stumbling over your name, of Gate 212 Architecture. This project is 160 West 74th Street, a Georgian Revival style school building built in 1893, designed by Lamb and Rich. Just advance. It stands on the south side of the street between Amsterdam and Columbus, closer to Amsterdam. I'm just going to briefly give you the project and then introduce Noelle Withers to make some brief remarks. The proposal you're seeing tonight is for the installation of a barrier-free chairlift at the front stoop, the installation of new exhaust ducts at the below-grade front areaway, filling in a light well on the east elevation, and the construction of a rooftop and rear additions, the installation of new mechanical equipment at the roof as well. And so, as I said before I begin, really, I'd like to introduce Noelle Withers of Volunteers of America to discuss her organization's mission and its upcoming tenancy in this building.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jackie. So again, my name is Noelle Withers. I am the interim president and CEO at Volunteers of America Greater New York, or VOA for short. And I'm joining Jackie and Hank today for this presentation as the nonprofit provider who will be operating the site at 74th Street. So New York City Planning and the Department of Social Services has approached VOA to be the service provider at this site, which I can confirm will be a temporary shelter for approximately 146 single women. So DSS has approached us to operate the site because we have a strong reputation for running high quality programs and being very responsive to community concerns. We also have a strong record of maintaining high standards for program quality, safety, accountability, and we're strong partners with the communities where we have programs, and we take that community engagement and those relationships very seriously. VOA, we're a nonprofit organization with a strong reputation for managing and operating social service programs throughout New York City, including Community Board 7. We currently operate Rose House SRO, which is permanent supportive housing for 97 men and women. We've been operating that building since 1992. We also operate the Regent Family Residence for 140 homeless families in Community Board 7. We've been operating that shelter since 1994. And our newest site in the Community Board is the Newton Shelter for 100 families who are seeking asylum. So we're an anti-poverty organization working to end homelessness in the greater New York area through providing services that address housing, health, and wealth building services. We're one of the region's oldest and largest human service organizations. We were founded in New York City 127 years ago, and currently we serve more than 11,000 adults and children each year through almost 70 programs in the greater New York area, including emergency shelter and permanent supportive housing. In terms of this specific site, we are still fully in the development stages of program design and staffing, and we're still negotiating all of that, including our budget with the Department of Social Services. But in general terms, I can tell you that, again, this will be a site for single women, about 146 single women, will be staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In terms of security, we plan to have a mix of contracted security guards as well as VOA employees on site 24 hours a day. And the building will be equipped with both interior and exterior cameras. And then in terms of services, what I can tell you now is that we will have a full team of social service staff, support staff on site, with the goal of exiting all of these women into permanent housing as quickly as possible. And we'll have other services on site to help them achieve permanent housing, to link to employment, et cetera. And so, again, this is very early in the project to be able to tell you definitively and exactly what staffing and program services will look like, but I can tell you that we plan to come back before the community board together with the Department of Social Services to give a much more detailed presentation on the program, on staffing, on services, and that we'll be reaching out so that can occur closer to the shelter opening, which right now is projected for sometime in the fall of 2024.
Well,
and so I can hand back to Jackie now. I'm happy to answer questions now or at the end. Not sure how much I'll be able to answer at this point because we are in such early stages, but I'm happy to try.
Actually, no, it's Max Vandervliet, the district manager. Can I interject for a second, and then I'll hand it either back to you or to the committee. This is for the committee members. We became aware of this, the office, a little earlier today.
Okay.
And what DHS, DSS has shared with us is that we are, and Beverly and I and Gail Brewer and I also spoke, is we're really not here tonight to speak about the use of the application. These guys are going to come right back to us, in January, in February. We're going to have a meeting, maybe even a joint meeting with HHS, maybe even housing and land use. We'll see. Tonight, we need to focus just on the technical aspects of this pertaining to the preservation matters.
Understood. I knew there were some questions, so we wanted to kind of proactively answer as many as we could, but thank you.
Sure. Sounds good. Now I'll hand it back to the committee. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, we thank you because there was a bit of mystery about it last time. And I think all we wanted to do was clear up a little mystery. And now we can concentrate on the preservation aspects, right?
Well, my concern is that we don't, it may be premature to comment. Presumably you guys are still working on certain aspects of the exteriors and how they will be used.
Isn't that what we're going to discuss?
I'm not sure they have.
Have you started work yet on this?
Because it sounded they're coming back.
The architect has the design for the interior and the exterior completely complete. So that's why we're here to show this to you tonight.
Oh, okay, I stand corrected. Thank you.
Last time was the one that didn't have.
Right, we didn't know what it was going to be used for.
Right.
Okay,
We raised
so-
some. So now, here's
So now we know what it's going to be used. So now we should
mystery solved.
focus on the
Design.
design.
Design. Okay, so Jackie, is that you? To
Yes.
walk us through the next step?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So again, the location on the south side of the street between Amsterdam and Columbus. Here's some historic photos of the building. Incidentally, it was built as a school building in the late 1893, and I believe over the course of the 20th and 21st centuries, it served as a school building for I think 3 or 4 consecutive tenants of schools. Here are some existing condition photos just to show you existing conditions of the stoop. And that below grade areaway you see in the photos on the bottom. The step, you'll note in the top right photo, the photo of the stoop, the step at the doors will be brought forward to create a 4-foot landing to meet the lift when it's installed. The existing doors will be refurbished and fitted with new hinges and an automatic opener so that they will be able to swing in both directions. And here, as I said, the below grade areaway at the west portion of the areaway, which you can see in this center photo, we're proposing 2 new exhaust ducts that will extend from wall to wall between below the existing red painted pipe that you see there. Here are some more existing condition photos showing you the condition where the proposed landing is for the stair. I'm sorry, for the lift. And here in plan, you can see the proposed landing installed within the areaway. The existing fence will be reused and will return. And as I said before, a new 4-foot landing will be installed at the top of the stoop to accommodate the meeting of the lift. And here you see that in section, existing and proposed. And here's just the existing and proposed elevations. Here's a rendering on the right to show you what this would really look like. Again, you can see the existing metal fence will be reused, and similarly, the cheek wall will be replicated so that you have a return that's consistent with the treatment of the fence at the rest of the areaway. Excuse me. Just wanted to point out that there was a recent lift approved elsewhere in this historic district earlier this year at the Trevor Day School at 1 West 88th Street. This is just a photo and typical drawings for this particular model of lift. And here you can see existing and proposed plans for the below grade areaway. So the reason for these ducts, which you see highlighted in blue here, the reason for those new ducts is because of the installation of a new generator in the existing sidewalk vault. So you won't actually see the generator. It's going to be in the vault, but you will see ducts that need to go between the vault and the body of the building. And that will be done through existing window openings, which you can see here in this elevation. The windows themselves will have to be replaced with metal panels painted to match the surrounding masonry. And here on the left, you can see in section those exhaust ducts. And on the right, you can see a rendering these gray forms below the red painted pipe are meant to replicate the look of the proposed ducts.
And the reason for the generator,
mhm.
Jackie, the reason for the generator?
Just to have a backup power source, but maybe the architect, Hake, would want to speak to that. I think Hake is here. Okay, I think I'll just move on. We can come back to that question.
Thanks.
Okay. Incidentally, because of a zoning requirement, there's also going to have to be a plain small black planter, which you see here in this figure. That's going to have to be installed behind the existing metal fence at the end of this areaway, where incidentally it's not below grade at this portion anymore. And that fence is, that fence is not it's not sitting in front of a below grade portion, it's sitting in front of an at grade portion, and that planter, which you can see here on top in the plan, it's just going to sit right there and be behind the fence. And honestly, I'm unclear why zoning requires this, but this is another question the architect can answer for you as we move on. So now turning our attention to the rear of the building. This building is really built out to the rear lot line, so it's very difficult to try to get an overall shot of the entire rear facade in one photo. So what you're seeing in the bottom photos are the existing metal staircase that goes down to the cellar level. You're seeing in the top right photo that expansive green is fake grass on top of the existing lower terrace that's on top of the first floor. So the cellar and first floor are built out to the rear lot line. On the left, you see a partial view of the existing rear facade. And in these photos, you can see again those 3 floors of the rear facade. And on the right, we're looking down an aerial shot at that lower terrace, which is on the bottom of the photo, the upper terrace, which is here with that wood planking on it, and you see the setback of the existing top floor rear facade. So here is that upper terrace again. This is the location of the proposed rear addition. So here in these existing and proposed elevation drawings, You can see in red the area where there's going to be change or demolition. So the existing exterior metal stairs, which were necessary when this building housed a school, those exterior metal stairs will go away. The building's going to be, well, we propose to resection it at the upper 3 floors so that where you see there's existing one line of windows at this upper portion of the main body of the rear facade, that will become smaller windows because they'll be fitting in 3 floors where there's an existing much taller floor and the addition above. So here this section really illustrates it, the change at the interior. So on the left we have the existing section. In the middle is the existing section with the area of demolition highlighted, and on the right is the proposed building section where you can see 3 new floors where there's an existing, much taller ceilinged space and the proposed addition on top of that. And you can also see the rooftop bulkheads and some mechanical equipment there. Okay, let me get this again. So this axonometric view, I think, is really great in demonstrating what the proposed changes are at the rear and at the roof. So again, on the left, you're seeing in the areas marked in red, those are what's going away or changing about this building. And on the right, the blue is the proposed changes. So again, that resectioning of the building, creating 3 floors of windows where there's presently one line of windows and then an open terrace. On the top of that, new addition at the rear facade, mechanical equipment with necessary enclosures, a stair bulkhead, actually 2 stair bulkheads, one that is also combined with an elevator, a shaft and new elevator bulkhead. That's at the location of the present light well. Existing building section and proposed. The red dotted outline, of course, indicates the existing building envelope. The line of sight indicates that you won't see any of the new additions on the roof when standing directly across the street from this building. Here are existing condition photos of the roof, aerial views mostly. Existing and proposed roof plans showing you the locations of the new elevator and stair bulkhead at the eastern portion of the roof, and another new stair bulkhead at the western portion, and proposed mechanical equipment and their enclosures. Elevations taken from different views on the roof, showing the new additions and equipment. Let me know if you want me to stop and answer any questions on these. This is just looking east and west. Here are photos of the mock-ups that were built, taken from the roof. Incidentally, the proposed railings on the roof were also mocked up. Looking at visibility of these mock-ups from the street. So this is approaching the center photo, I should say the right photo. The right photo is looking at the building walking from Amsterdam Avenue, so walking east. Obviously nothing's visible there. The addition at the bulkhead that's going to be built over the proposed enclosed light well will become visible as you walk east down 74th Street. So you do catch it as you come a little to the side of the building. And again, these are viewpoints, photos taken as one walks east on 74th Street. And it does become, you do see more of it as you're walking east, but you're also at the same time getting farther from the building. So I think its impact on the building becomes a lot less because you're getting much farther away, halfway down the block before you're really seeing this bulkhead. As I'm sure you're all aware, there are plenty of examples of visible rooftop additions that the Landmarks Commission has approved within this district. Here are just a few. We're looking at 45 West 81st Street, 150 West 82nd Street, and 200 West 83rd Street. just to show you a bit about the block development. Early on, this block was a very homogeneous block of row houses. However, even when that was true in the very early 20th century, in the top we're looking at 1902, this building was already different. It was already a school building next to a hotel building, incidentally, whereas the rest of the block was already row houses. By the 1910s, you have an apartment building on the corner nearby it. By 1925, the block has changed a lot, and the homogeneity of the row house block has been lost by the introduction of additional apartment buildings, a telephone building, dumbbell tenements, another hotel, and the bottom you see 1976 as well. And 2005, let's just zoom in on this. This was the most recent Sanborn we could get at the moment, where you can see that these larger buildings, these apartment buildings on the corners, former hotel building, you see large rooftop additions, penthouses built on top of those buildings as well. Okay, so here is our proposed block plan, where in blue we've highlighted where there are one-story additions on top of buildings, and seeing in that context are the proposed additions on top of this building. Here are just some views. So this is what you can see. This top left photo is what you can see when you're looking due south from the roof of this building. Look at the bottom, you're looking at the street, 74th Street, and figure C in the bottom right, you're looking at the roofscape of the row houses that are directly to the east of this building. In terms of material palette, obviously nothing's changing to the brick on the facades. We're proposing to clad the bulkheads with stucco, which is a typical material used for rooftop accretions. There would be new windows at the rear facade only. Excuse me, some water. And new light fixtures as well at the rear facade, as you see here. And really, that's our presentation. We welcome your comments and questions.
Questions from the committee page?
Just a quick one. In the alteration and the addition of classrooms, is the rooftop going to be for recreation, or is that just for mechanical and service?
My understanding is just for mechanical and service function, but I should have the architect confirm that.
The only reason is for noise of adjacent properties that are equal height on this, and for records actually very nicely presented by the like.
Thank you.
I see you have a hand online actually as well, from Mark.
May I go?
Yes, please.
Thank you. So I agree. It's a very clear presentation, and I thank you for that. I have a question on the front and a question on the back. So if I'm reading the plan correctly and the materials you provided, thank you in advance. You're effectively squeezing 3 floors into what would have been one existing and one additional. Do I have that right, or did I miss something?
Yeah, it's a resectioning of the building. If you go back
So it's
to
a net addition of 1 floor. It's not a net addition of 3.
partial. It's like net addition of
That's-
one floor on one
that's-
half. Yes,
Okay.
let's have the architect speak to this.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. This is Hike with Gate to 11 Architecture. Yes,
Great.
yes, we adding 1 floor. The existing floor-to-floor elevations are, so we're using the benefit of extra height elevation to introduce a floor at the back.
And then with respect to the front and especially the lift, I'm wondering, the monumental nature of the staircase leading up to the front entrance. Those lifts, they are what they are. I think our committee has always taken a sort of tempered view about appropriateness given the necessity of the lift. But I'm sort of reminded in looking at this picture, and thank you for that's exactly the picture I was hoping for, of 117 West 79th Street, which our committee also looked at, which was a conversion of a former illegal hotel into an assisted living, or rather a supportive living facility near the Museum of Natural History. And there, because they were on a slope, they opted for a lift that looks more like an elevator than the chairlift kind of thing that or platform lift you've got here. And what they did was leave the main front entrance alone, and very similar to the situation you have here, there was a very larger than average window to one side through which they could orient the lift and bring it up. I could actually show you the plan from a previous iteration if you want me to share my screen. But I'm wondering if that was okay.
No, you sorry, continue. You want me to stop
Okay.
sharing?
No,
Okay.
unless somebody needs it. But this window to the west or left of the picture that you see there looks like it would fit as a door, and you could bring the lift right up to it, and then the main entrance remains as it is without that folded up thing and the encumbrance on the stairway. I'm wondering whether from a design standpoint that was considered, and if it was considered and rejected, I'm wondering why.
It was considered. We think the proposal is the most efficient approach in terms of planning, because introducing it will make it more complicated. We have to look further into investigating what you're proposing, but it will create a lot of complications with interior planning based on the program we're trying to achieve. So it will change our current layout and the owner's program. It will also still be affecting the facade and will make the platform even larger. So there are pros and cons to each solution. We have to go back to the drawing board and look at it again. There's a limitation on how high the lift can go and the platform requirements to make it accessible. So I think the impact on the site will be definitely far more larger than what we're proposing. We definitely
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
What brought it to mind was the fact that for your plan, for your program, you seem to need to clear out a space and make it flush with the curb right there to the west or right of the main staircase, and that just invites the idea that the wheelchair could roll right up to the facade and get into the lift. But if it's been considered and rejected for efficiency purposes, that's a sufficient answer to my question. Thanks.
Yes.
No, I think I would just like to add to that as a preservationist, I think what you're suggesting here just, it would require more removal of historic fabric from the face of the building. So I would rather not see that, only because the challenge here is the areaway is below grade, and so you have, windows are much more elevated. I think you would have to remove a portion of that rusticated limestone. The window that would also be altered has a nice leaded glass transom in it, and they're trying to not touch the windows. So I think for the challenges posed by this particular site, the lift that Hake has designed is the least detrimental and least obvious way of doing it for this particular building. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Other questions? Committee, is there anybody from the public either present in the room for this building or on online?
I'm not seeing anyone online.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We have some.
Is this lift going to be able to accommodate people with scooters that are bigger than wheelchairs?
Did you hear the question?
Accommodate people on scooters. Oh, you mean like where you sit
Motorized.
and you have like the handlebars?
The community center, we have people there that have scooters.
When you say scooter, you talking about things they sit in?
Yes, they sit in it.
That's not really a scooter, but
Okay.
A powered wheelchair.
Power chair.
yes, I think they're of
Well,
a
accommodate
sufficient
power chair.
size.
We have an answer from the
Architect?
architect?
Yeah. Hank, would you like to answer that question if you know the answer?
What's-
Someone asked not just, would this lift accommodate not just people in a wheelchair, but one of those, I forget what they're called. They're, like a chair that you sit in, but it has the handlebars in the front. Is that what someone means?
Very
Yeah.
heavy, they're big, heavy chairs.
Yeah,
Support goes up and down for people who aren't mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, motorized wheelchair.
motorized wheelchair. And yeah, I think the issue might be the weight. It may not be that much bigger.
Platform.
Do we have a weight estimate on the?
Yeah, what's the weight? Pike, do you happen to know what the weight capacity is for the lift? So I think you're muted. We don't hear your answer.
Sorry, I will have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
Hey,
Any other questions?
Call the question?
All right, shall we move ahead with this?
I see now you have a hand from Doug.
Good.
I just noticed the question that was asked before hadn't been answered yet, unless I didn't hear it, which was on the backup generator. Is this for power outage? Is this diesel? Is this natural gas? Is this generator going to be in use at all in non-emergency or only for emergencies?
This is only for the emergency. It's a code mandated generator.
And what type of fuel does it use?
Diesel.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, one last thing on the elevator, the lift that you were just asking, I know you're going to get back to us on it. Is this basically a Lula? Is that sort of?
No, it's a platform lift chair. Lula is a vertical. It's a limited use, limited application. That's what it stands for. Lula elevators. They're vertical.
So this is platform.
Indoor.
Oh,
This is called a platform lift chair. Or yeah.
Thank you.
All right,
Okay, let's vote in favor.
favor. Should we call it?
Anybody else on the screen voting?
All right, so anybody in favor?
Mark.
Should we call the
Aye.
roll?
Mark Careful.
Thank you.
Okay, well,
Okay, we'll do
We're-
it separately. Peter, are you on?
Yes,
Peter,
Are you
Yeah.
voting in favor? Yes.
yeah,
in favor?
Favor? So three in favor.
yeah.
I'm not eligible tonight.
Okay. Mark, you didn't vote. Okay, who's against?
I'm a yes.
You're a yes or no? Mark, you in favor or against?
I'm in favor.
Okay, so now we're.
Now, can I qualify that to say, I would rather, there's some drawings that are missing that would give me assurance in terms of how they're gonna connect to the fabric. And that's why I'm, Etsy gets middle ground.
Etsy gets.
Okay,
Putting you down as Etsy gets.
What was an answer to your
sorry.
satisfaction? What was an answer? What's still standing out for you?
Well,
Or
I'm
outstanding.
concerned about how the attachments to the rear of the property as well as the stairs, because there is the recess that we didn't really discuss to the right-hand side of the photo. And I'm concerned about that. It's a beautiful building, it's really quite lovely.
Well, is there any way we can get an answer on this or discuss it from there?
Well, maybe a better detail for the, our committee to look at, to see how it will connect to the different pieces would be.
We can ask for that detail between now and when we go to the board.
I'm sorry, a detail for what exactly? Are we talking about the rear addition or the lift?
Both, because the backside of this building is visible. It would be nice to see how it would be attached to the historic fabric, particularly.
The rear, the upper portion of the rear facade would be rebuilt, and the rear facade is not visible from the street.
At all, okay, that
Right.
makes that. Then I'm just a little concerned about the front. Thank you. So.
Okay, so
We're
Jay,
voting.
we're voting, yeah, so pages,
So
pages of no.
did you vote?
Yes. No.
I'm abstaining because I don't think we have the authority to vote on the resolution.
Okay,
Oh.
even though Peter's on the call and voting,
Okay, so far.
so we have
yes.
5.
Peter can vote, but the law. Well,
Okay, but we.
Okay, Jay,
we distinguish between
Okay.
the ability to vote and being counted as a board. It's forum.
got it. Yeah, I think we understand. So,
Okay, so we have 1 no vote, 1 abstain, and 4 yeses.
all right,
Okay.
thank you very, very much. Do you have a calendar date?
Hey.
We do not.
Okay, all right.
Sometime in
Let us know when-
January, hopefully.
Yeah, all right. Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Racing through our agenda.
Yeah,
We're up to-
Are you going to do this with everything? Abstain?
it's possible.
Okay.
I forgive me, but besides being the lawyer, I'm old fashioned, I believe in following the law. and the
Oh,
rules.
college. Right. I do too sometimes. Okay, so 418 Columbus Avenue is our next victim, right?
If you're here for that, just raise your hand. I can promote you. Oh, I guess I already promoted you guys. You're good to go.
Hello,
Terrific.
can you hear me?
We can.
Great, wonderful. Arif, would you mind sharing your screen?
Tell us who you are, please.
Okay, good evening. My name is Winter D'Angelillo. I'm with Park Bench Architects, and I'm joined by Arif and Jennifer, my colleagues.
Ma'am,
Spell your
Spell
names,
for a
please,
second.
for the record.
Yeah, it's first name's Winter, like the season. Last name is D'Angelillo, D'Angelillo.
Oh, thank you.
So we're here to talk to you tonight about, thank you, obviously, everyone, for coming and allowing us to present. We're here to talk about 418 Columbus, which is on the corner of 80th and Columbus Avenue. We'll be showing you our proposed design for a cafe coffee shop for a brand called Percent Arabica. They have 2 other New York locations, and they're popping up pretty vigorously around the city. And their kind of theme throughout each of their coffee shops is just a very beautiful integrated design, which you'll see shortly. So the cafe will occupy the ground floor space at the corner of 80th and Columbus. A brief note of about the building. It's located within the Upper West Side Central Park West Historic District. It was built in 1898 in the Beaux Arts style by architect Henry F. Cook. If you could go back one more, actually, just to keep the facade. The facade has, you can kind of see here, a 3-story stone base and a 7 upper stories that sort of have this vibrant red brick and limestone pattern, white limestone. We kind of think the architect relied more on this bold and simple brick contrasting as opposed to more decorative Beaux Arts articulations of the facade that we sort of took into our design, that sort of contrasting element. Okay, now you can flip. So the building in the early 20th century was occupied by a lot of well-known people, and it was a pretty lavish interior, as we've seen. It's sort of our intent with our design aesthetic to kind of restore the corner space to a kind of material luxury that speaks to the original design intent, albeit in a style more modern and more befitting of today. But next slide is a brief overview of actually this is a slide showing our sort of more zoomed in our area of work within the context of the rest of the building.
Can you speak into one direction because you keep coming and going?
Oh, can you hear me okay? Maybe I'll speak closer to the, so here's our tax photos in the 1940s and 1980s. You can see in the 1940s image, the two windows that used to have, display windows in them that were removed in the 1980s photo. You can see the air, window unit, air conditioner, that those were boarded up at that point around then. Next. So here's some more streetscape images of our space in context, looking down the block. Sort of more zoomed in areas of work. So our space and our proposal will deal with the two upper windows that we just saw from the photo that used to be display windows. Then we have the awning, the security gates you can see on 80th Street, and then the metal and glass, the non-historic metal and glass storefront there. There's a concrete step of about 8 inches. In our proposal, we're proposing to reduce that a little bit. We tried to get rid of it altogether, but we weren't able to achieve that with the existing building structure, but we will be showing you a reduction of that concrete step, which is not a historic element. Some further additional kind of detailed images of those two facades, infill that currently exists now, the top left showing the infill, which used to be an entryway, but now is sort of blocked up on the inside. It's a kitchen and kitchen hood, but we're proposing to remove that and bring it back to the entryway that it was. The two windows also in question on 80th are below, and then the main entrance on Columbus Avenue, which will be remaining at sort of the main entrance, but replacing the metal and glass storefront that's there. These are additional zoomed in photos of the roll gate and the roll gate housing and the awning actually. So important notes for this roll gate is that we're proposing to refurbish the roll gate and the track, but with the housing, we're going to basically renovate the box of the housing to create a more square profile so we can put our signage on it. But the rest of the roll gate will be cleaned up, refurbished, and powder coated. Here's a view of the proposed design from the outside. Obviously the right with the roll gate closed, and the left will be the facade on Columbus Avenue. Next slide. Here's our 80th Street facade. So you can see maintaining the limestone that's there. Obviously, we have no work to the existing historic elements. The base granite will remain. The limestone above is in great shape. We're proposing from left to right, installing a new powder coated metal louver. At the middle window, we are proposing to do our sort of brick screening treatment. And then on the very right, again, another entryway door and brick screen element. Above, you'll see the squared off portion is the roll gate housing box with our halo lit metal signage mounted to that. This view is a rendering showing the proposed design in context with the neighboring, with a little more context of the adjacent buildings, showing our neighbors and how it would fit within the facade. This is a elevation drawing proposed at the top, at the bottom, and existing above. So we're proposing to remove the awning, remove the metal and glass storefront infill, and replace it with it's articulated brick screen, powder coated metal facade elements with glass doors, and the roll gate housing box with the sign.
Say brick screen, is that translucent or is that opaque?
It's well, we have some further details along, but it's opaque with openings, so it's sort of an articulated reuse of a brick pattern where you can stick your hand in between, so it's bricks standing on their end and then horizontally, and it's backlit, so you'll have some lighting that comes through, but it's sort of both. It's you can stick your hand through it, but it's opaque in the other areas. So this is another existing versus proposed elevation on 80th Street. Again, just showing our the louver left to right, the louver on the left-hand side, which will be allowing that outdoor air to come into the space. We didn't want to, it's a tall building, we didn't want to go all the way to the roof, so we're proposing to bring in outdoor air from there. Middle window is the screen, and then the right hand is the new entry at 80th Street. Here is the floor plan of the space. So obviously we see the two entrances, but we thought it was important to show the holistic approach to the design that it's important. An important element to us is that the facade really mimics what's happening on the interior. So we have these concentric circles of the brick screening that are backlit, which is the same treatment essentially on the facade, the same look that will be on the interior of the store. So that carries out to the exterior. These are sort of examples of things we took inspiration from. We are directly across from the American Museum of Natural History, and the circle nature of the planetarium had some early impact in the design process. And then also looking at, playing with the bricks, we were pretty inspired by the contrasting and simple nature of the brick, the red brick and limestone that we mentioned that the original building had. So we were sort of taking cues from that and wanted to think through a strategic arrangement of bricks that could sort of create a depth, a texture, and be a visual interest that aren't decorative, but sort of a brick pattern, if you will. So those are examples of that in the city. These are other playful cues. This is the frieze of the building where we had some textural elements and circle elements that we played with in terms of how we landed on the plan design and the patterning of the storefront. This page sort of illustrates the bricks. You can see on the right how the pattern will work. The dotted lines are the interior reinforcement of the bricks. You can see in the plan image how they'll turn, and the little circle is obviously the reinforcement, and that's sort of the structure and engineering of how the bricks will be supported.
Can I just ask, is this that last part? Is that the door open to the entryway going in on Columbus Avenue, or is the entry? You also mentioned the entry on 80th Street. Will there be one entrance or two?
Two.
And so this, we're looking here at the 80th Street.
If you go back, this is actually within the store. So in the plan here, you see that's Columbus Avenue. So we have two double door on Columbus and a single door on 80th.
Can we just take the Columbus Avenue facade once more?
Yeah. So this is the facade drawings on Columbus showing the double doors, metal and glass, and how it will sort of interact with the brick screen in front. I know if it's more helpful to show the rendering. We could show, yeah. So that's how it will look on Columbus Avenue with the obviously roll gate open or roll gate closed. And then the other slide is the 80th Avenue entrance. Yep. Okay, if there's no other questions, we can go back to.
I actually have a question as long as you talk about the entrances.
Yep.
The entrances are essentially right catty-corner to each other. Why two entrances?
That's a good question. I think we were pretty excited about the idea of just opening up the infill on 80th. It's so blocked out, there's no light, and it sort of worked with the layout of our design layout of the store, and it just makes the corner of 80th and Columbus more activated for us. Just worked with the flow of the plan and the concentric circles.
I'm in just briefly here too. I think part of the idea between having the two entrances is also customer flow through the store so that the main entrance doesn't get blocked up with customers leaving who are also trying to enter. So I think the idea is that the vast majority of people would enter from Columbus Ave and then probably exit from 80th.
Other questions? Great.
Well, this is interesting. And the plan and how it goes, don't laugh yet. Yeah, I could have you in tears in a few moments, so wait. I think it's very energetic and it is a remarkable corner site. But what troubles me is the introduction of the curvature to the outside. It's a lot of action in there. And the problem that I have, if you could go to the facade, the new entrances, if you could put that up, there you go. I instantly thought of Paris. I didn't think of the Museum of Natural History. It looks more petite and delicate. And you already have a beautiful plaster in the framing of the bold, almost contemporary limestone. My other question is, because I think it's too much of a good thing in a way, and confusing, because presumably when the windows are shut down, it's actually a calmer facade than what you created and proposed. And my final question is really, is that brownstone on the base or is that marble, polished marble? That's the base of the seating that limestone that we proposed. Can you clarify that?
Yep, it's polished marble.
It is polished marble and it's not there now. This is
It
an
is.
addition.
No, it's there. It's there now.
It is there. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to. Thank you.
Yep. No, thank you for your feedback. It's interesting you use the term delicate because I feel like it's very strongly rooted with the linear lines, and it sort of feels stately in the way that the modernness of the existing limestone is, but that is an interesting comment.
I see trellis and garden, not retail. It's my concern. Mark, you have your hand up?
Mark?
So, yes, I do. Thank you. So when I look at the entranceway from Columbus and see all those, yeah, that one, especially the one with the cascading ones, I think of Get Smart. So I do think it's stronger than Delicate in my impression. I want to ask about the gate and a couple of things about the gate. First of all, I'm wondering why the choice of the light color as opposed to a one that would contrast rather than try to emulate what's behind it. Because if I understand it correctly, once the gate's down, you don't see what's behind it. So first of all, is that correct? And secondly, what was the design choice there?
That is correct. And the white, we did explain to the client, obviously there's graffiti on the current roll gate could be an issue, but it is a very strong brand presence for them. All their stores have white facades, and it's important for them to maintain that. So that's the reason for it's the thread through all their different stores.
Fair enough. Clinique makes a living of that for, however many years. So I guess the other thing I wanted to raise is, and one thing that we've tried to keep in mind here over the years is better to have the modern and the historic truly contrast rather than try to look like one another and fail. And so I think that's what you're going for here, and I think it's a very interesting design. I think that effect of having the new contrast with the old might be enhanced if there were a way for the roll down gate enclosure, the thing at the top, whatever that's called, to be below the cornice line, which appears to be intact and which you reference as one of your inspirations for the circular pattern, so that you have the historic completely framing the modern as opposed to covering it up. Now, maybe it's a code thing or something, but have you given some thought to that? Because I think that would actually very much enhance what it is that you're trying to achieve in the design. And I take a liberal view with storefront infill anyway, but I think that might be a useful way to think about marrying those two things together. Thanks.
Yeah,
can I say something?
That's a great comment. Yeah, go ahead. Please.
What?
Please go ahead.
I like the whole design, but I'm questioning the color of the aluminum, whether it should be something else, whether it should be a darker color. That's all.
For the roll gate itself, or the metal and glass storefront, the doors and the.
No.
Are you referring to the gate, to the grading there, Peter?
I didn't hear you.
Peter, are you referring to the roll down gate, or are you referring to?
Yeah, the roll down and the gates behind the roll down on the left.
Okay, both.
I think it should relate more to the windows of the building above it.
Yeah, the brick on the left-hand image, the brick screen, the limestone, it is a limestone brick. So it's a complementary hue. The renderings might be slightly more deceiving, and in reality, it's sort of complementary to the limestone that's there. But definitely noted comment there. Thank you.
Okay.
More questions, Doug? You have a question?
Yeah, thank you. I could be wrong about this, but my understanding was that there was a city code that prohibits roll gates from being entirely opaque, and that there has to be some visibility within for fire safety reasons and for other reasons. And I see this gate as completely enclosed. So perhaps someone knows the code better than I, but
yeah, you are correct with that. But in this instance, we'll be leaving the existing. And so in that case, we're allowed to maintain the opaque nature.
Oh, I see. So you have an existing opaque.
Yeah.
So you're not effectively changing it, but you're replacing it in kind.
No. Well, we're actually leaving it, and we're cleaning it up and powder coating it.
Okay.
So we're leaving the existing, yeah.
Well, my opinion is because if it is a safety mechanism that you might consider making it safer, even if you're able to replace it in kind. That's my just my 2 cents. Thanks.
Thanks.
you.
Is there any? Oh, is that what you're gonna say? Okay. Any member of the public here for this, online or person?
I'm not seeing any online. Okay.
Ready to vote? Mark and Peter? Mark?
Yes. I vote to approve. I would, if we could squeeze in a reference to the cornice line somewhere in the resolution, that would be great. But if not, I'm still in support. Thanks.
Yeah.
Jake?
I am concerned, but I think I like the comments about the tablature on the top, exposing that, so I vote yes, if that would be the case.
Yeah.
No, so it's board to one house.
4 to 0. And do you have a date?
I don't think that's.
I believe we do. For the hearing with the landmarks, that
5, so it's 5.
5.
5.
5, not
5.
Just not used to Page voting in favor.
I know, it's true, everybody.
I hesitated to have more yes votes, but I thought it was the right thing.
You were right. Thank you.
Can you say they have a date?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say you had a date? We were talking about
Landmarks?
landmark.
yes, we do.
And what is that?
January 9th. I believe we do, right, Jennifer?
Yep, January 9th.
Yeah, okay.
All right. All right. So our full board will meet before. Are we meeting on the 2nd? Max, are we meeting on Jan 2nd?
No, it's always the second.
Yes, that's correct.
Full board.
Oh, full board.
Yeah. Okay, so then Jan 9 with Frank. One of us will see you there.
Okay, 420 Amsterdam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, that's very exciting. Thank you. Good old days. Yeah. Speaking of which. Penny's retired. Oh. Jeez.
A long time now.
Long time. It's been a long time since I've been. Welcome back. Hello, Mark. Hello, Doug. Thank you so much. For you. Okay. That's that. It comes down here and we're gonna put together something. Should I sit?
Chair.
Sure, you can sit. Join us.
We're actually next door. We're in the same building, but next door to the side.
Huh.
This is a rather simpler. Mission is just was a violation issue, sort of just a railing. Wall. And landmark, we're trying to clear the violation. Got it. So I have my office. I'm Steve Weinfeld. I'm sorry. Yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah. And we're just simply doing that. So I have an owner, property owner, Dr. Salon. I have my staff, chairman, can discuss, especially the street and what the property fund. So Josh wants to be first.
Josh, you're online?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, want to pick it up from there?
Sure. So we're here to try to legalize it's something that that's been there for a few years now. which is our removable garbage and recycling bins, a diamond plate piece of metal below them, and the fence that is in front of it. What originally brought this all on is we had this old rusty fence that was really just falling down and became dangerous. And we had this staircase on the side of the building that led to a door that had been bricked up, decades ago. The steps go down, there's just some storage down there, but there's no more ingress or egress from that basement level of the building. So we had this staircase that led to nowhere. We had a fence that was rusty and falling down. And we needed a place to put our garbage and recycling bins. So we put the piece of diamond plate down over about half of the area above the staircase. Put our removable garbage bins on them. They're on casters. They are not affixed to anything. They're movable and they're able to be slid out in and out to put garbage in and out with the superintendent. And we looked up and down the block, as you'll see in some of the pictures now, to see what other fences look like. And we matched it. And Landmarks subsequently issued a violation, both, I believe, for the fence and for the bins. And we're here because we do not believe that they, contribute to the historic character of our building or the neighborhood. And we'd like to legalize what we have.
Okay. Garbage bins. We've been here before.
Do we have side by sides?
What? Side by sides, existing, you're saying existing and proposed? Or
Existing and pre-existing, I guess, is what we're looking at, right?
You're not
Pre-existing.
proposing.
They want to keep
What they have
have now.
proposed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, got it.
Landmarks asked us to do by matters.
When was the violation?
I don't, last the other day, or Sherman, the other day. How about well?
This is Sherman Demuag and from SWA. This is exactly the picture of what we have from tax photos over here with the railing on the front, which you can partly see of it. And this one's the current condition of it with the dumpsters on this one, the black part of it.
Now, when the violation was issued?
So we don't really have the photo of the way back then, but we have these current conditions photos.
Okay. Do we have a date for when
Can you please answer the
the
question?
violation? I don't think they heard the question. The violation was issued. Do we know when it was issued by LPC? Is this very recent or?
No, I believe it was in 2018 or 2019.
Been a while.
And
We just got contacted by Josh and we're
And the issue is the fact that you have encircled the facade with garbage bins. They don't like.
Well, the garbage bins themselves are removable. And my understanding is that since they are removable, they're and not permanently affixed to anything, that the garbage bins themselves should not be a problem for Landmarks or anybody else. What I believe is that the issue is the fence.
They replaced the fence without going to land.
Okay,
that's why we're
Correct. And the pictures that they showed before are really the only pictures that Landmarks has given us that even show what the old fence looked like. And in those, you can't really see it.
The fence was dangerous back then, so Josh could find stuff corrected and match like the neighbor's fences. get landmarks picked it up, and we've already talked to landmarks, but they don't seem to have a problem with anything. But they asked us to, there's no methodology or procedure for them to move it internally, so we have to go something out.
My only concern is that the garbage bins remain with rollers, so you can put them behind them.
He said they're on.
I know, I'm just saying that.
That's, yeah.
Should be part and parcel of the.
Okay.
How do you get the garbage out? The garbage is-
Those railings swing open.
The gates swing open and the tops, the tops look like.
Well, top, I think, for those who never move, the bins, they stay there.
No, they get rolled out.
They roll them out,
That's correct.
put the garbage in.
Yeah. God, they roll out the side.
So my understanding with respect to, I hate the term legalizations, is that we neither give punishment nor credit for the existing condition, but view it as if this were brought to us afresh, what would we do? And in that instance, I would answer that because the garbage bins actually have a detail on their front that emulates the fence that was replaced, maybe not exactly the same configuration, but it is a reference to what was there before. And I'm sure they looked better when they first came in. The city is what it is in terms of effect on metal. But so I would offer the opinion that I would have approved this if it were brought to us in the first place, and therefore would vote to approve this now. Thanks.
Mark, I said hello.
Oh, hey, Steve. Good to talk to you.
Can I ask another question? The bank on the left side, bottom left, that's one continuous unit or you break them up? On the bottom left hand.
Right there.
Or the middle one on the bottom. It looks like they're ganged permanently and you open the doors to pull the garbage out.
Josh, can you explain how you operate the garbage bins?
Sure. There are multiple sections of the fence that can open, and the bins can be slid out individually. If you can see, I believe it's hard to tell. I think there's either 3 or 4 sections where you see those little locks. Each of those can swing open as like a double door.
But the actual box that they're in is permanent, correct? It's on and the rooftop.
No, the railing. Permanent.
They are not, the bins are not attached to the railings. The railings are separate from the bins.
So you can take the bins that are there to clean underneath.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yes.
We're on sort of rat duty now.
Yeah.
Control.
And the best picture of it is this middle bottom picture.
I think so.
Yes. Yeah. And you can see the corner
I can see 2 casters.
casters. You
Yeah.
can also see the corner presentation of the right before us. Where joints to that. Is that a separate building, 418 or 420?
That, I believe what you're asking, if the area to the left of the bins is part of our building?
No, the one on the corner that was presented. That's a separate building.
That was Columbus.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
It's separate,
All
right?
of those pictures, all of those additional pictures of the neighbors are on 81st Street. I walked 1 block east. I'm sorry, 80th Street. 1 block east and 1 block west.
And, sorry.
No, that's okay. I just, on following up on what Mark said about this business of legalization. And he's absolutely correct that the standard is we're supposed to treat it as if it were a new application, but in parentheses, we generally don't like people not getting permits when they were supposed to get them. And in this case, this is pretty benign, but we, over the years, had people come in legalizing monster projects with, massive demolition and replacement and so forth.
Yeah.
So it should never be a message that we like work, any kind of work at any level done without the proper permit.
Let's say we're not legalizing, let's say we're, moving, but
Well, but
it's the
it's a different way of saying the same thing.
and also, Doug, I said hello, you didn't answer. Well,
Is there anyone? from
Hey there,
the
Steve.
community- Anybody want to speak or ask the question?
Anybody here for the garbage bins?
Okay, let's call
I'm
it.
not seeing anyone else online.
Mark, Mark, how do you vote?
I would vote to approve.
Peter,
Approve.
Jay,
Stay.
Paige, approved. Okay,
Approved.
no. It's 5-0.
back to back.
And Doug, you want to weigh in as a member of the?
Oh,
Well,
Joe,
I'm not, I didn't go through the process, so I'm not eligible to vote tonight, but I would have approved it had I been voting. I'll just say that, in support.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, thanks. Good luck.
3 West 16.
No, I think we're on Riverside Drive. right?
Oh, sorry. 173.
The building we've seen recently, right?
If you're here for that one, just raise your hand. Oh,
How do I get it?
Okay, here we go.
Sorry, which one is this?
Sorry.
We're at 173, 175 Riverside Drive, second floor.
Oh, yeah. The windows, right?
No, no.
Hi, folks.
Those panels in lieu of wood spandrel. Love that word.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. It's Barbara Endes from Walter B. Melvin Architects.
And
I presented the balustrade project to you in 2021.
Right.
How many folks are on the board now who were on the board back then? I wonder. I see a
All
few.
of us.
Oh,
over
great.
there, that
That's
was
great,
up way up.
I'm sorry.
That was way up top, the top of the building, right?
Right, exactly. So now we're down in the sidewalk area doing something much more minimally. Well, the scope of this thing is small or seemingly small, but it's so close to the sidewalk. So here we are. Can I share my screen?
Please.
of course. Yeah, you're good.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Let's grab the right screen here. Okay. So 173, 175. I'm calling this a master plan because we were asked by the LPC preservationists and their supervisor in a meeting after submittal to them to turn this thing into a master plan, and I'll explain why. I think we're all familiar with the location, right? Between 89th and 90th Street, Riverside Drive. These photos will look familiar. 1940s tax photo, another historic photo. And as you know, the building remains essentially unchanged, except for the removal of that canopy at the terrace on the roof. And some other minor interventions such as air conditioning, which is, everyone's dealing with, unfortunately, these days. I'm just focusing here with these photos on current day photos, just to reconfirm the location, which on 89th Street is a little bit lower on the wall because the site topography changes from one block to the other. On the right side, we see the 90th Street locations. Just to note, this
detail doesn't exist quite everywhere at this floor because of the building entrances, right? So on 89th Street, we've got the nice monumental entrance that interrupts that rhythm. And these two flanking windows here are actually on, I don't know if they're apartment windows, but that's a good question, actually. I don't have them in the scope. On the ones on the 90th Street side, the building entrance is punctuated by this longer metal balustrade above. So we have in total 40 some panels. The figures. I'm just going to do that and show you some other existing conditions photos. We have the bulk of these locations, which feature these original balconette railings, are uninterrupted, but some of them have been modified to accommodate through-wall AC units by various shareholders at various individual interventions in the past. But the original detail, as you can see here, is curiously a painted wood panel. We don't understand why that material was used here. It might have been a change during original construction, as those things go. The LPC preservationist had an opinion. He thought that maybe that originally there might be French doors planned for these locations, and then when that changed, they just kind of went to the window fabricator and said, "Can you make a panel to supplement these double hung windows that were ultimately installed?" But they're built up wood, essentially like a door panel in construction. The paint is failing badly. I think they've been repainted at some point, but they're not faring well. The current project, facade project, kind of general restoration work below the balustrade, included as a base scope scraping and repainting of the railing. So on the left on the screen, you can see one that hadn't yet been repainted. I think the one on the right had been repainted at the time that I was surveying for this scope. The railing, that is. The railings can be removed, but they're somewhat difficult to remove, and because they're situated just high enough off the sidewalk that you need scaffolding to get to them, and you interrupt the gardens, they just don't get attended to. The wood panels behind the railings, that is, even the metal railings are a bit difficult to get to maintain, but to take them off and maintain these wood panels has been a real bear for the owner, and therefore they haven't been maintained, and they're rotting, they're falling apart. So the proposal here is to replace these panels with limestone panels. Limestones, because the lower 3 floors of the facade are limestone, and because limestone is clearly a durable material, once they put these panels in, they'll never need to touch them or maintain them, and they won't peel and they won't become an eyesore. That's the basic proposal here, is to replace these failing wood panels with limestone. The entire I'll come back to the through-wall if you don't mind me skipping around in my presentation, but just to kind of show you the scope of the included locations. At the north facade, their existing panels are untouched. Maybe that's not surprising because people facing north don't have quite as much need for AC, right? So none of these panels have been modified on the north facade. On the south facade, we have 5 of the 13 existing panels have been modified for through-wall ACs, and those are shown in white on this elevation. And then 8 out of the 13 original panels are unmodified. on the west facade, we have a mixed bag. 17 out of the 26, excuse me, are unmodified. And I showed them this way on the elevations just so that it would be easier to see the distribution of existing versus modified panels as they currently stand. But when we get to the and here at the details, I eliminated the railing entirely just to make it clearer what you'd see, what the actual panel would be in either case. So on the left side here, we have an elevation, vertical section and a plan section of the existing painted wood panels. And on the right, we have details for the limestone replacement panel, the profile of which would match I don't know if you can see my cursor in this. Yeah. You should be able to, right? So the profile of thank you. The profile of the limestone panel would match the wood panel. So we'd take the railing off to install the limestone and, detail it for weatherproofing and so on. Put the railing back where it was. Essentially, the appearance would be unchanged in our opinion. LPC asked us to, feel free to stop me if you have any questions along the way, of course. Because we do have these existing penetrations at some locations, and because they all are slightly different, there are multiple sizes of the existing spandrels. I think the size range is from 30 inches, 30 or 34 inches to 50 inches. So they vary in width. Of course, ACs are standardized and generally sized for the rooms they're serving, but they're different widths. But of course, when you buy a wall sleeve, the louver is designed to fit it. So there are a range of different widths of existing air conditioners on the wall. The preservationists suggested we come up with a master plan so that we could try to regularize those existing through walls as they are replaced over time, or to accommodate any future through wall ACs, which LPC is not objecting to, if that does come up. The intent of any replacement louvers or new louvers for new through walls would be for them to span the entire width of the opening, so that at least over time those will become a little more uniform within their own subset, right? So here we have an existing through wall that's much narrower than the opening, and this is a narrow opening to begin with. This one is spanning basically the entire width, and this is the general approach that the preservationist and supervisor liked the best, I think, just because it is the easiest, kind of mode to generalize to any future installations. So what we've devised here is an existing proposed for the limestone, panel proposed for intact locations. And then on the right in this slide, we see the master plan proposal for locations where, again, we're replacing an existing through wall AC, which does come up, of course, or locations where someone might propose a new through wall AC that would penetrate the spandrel location. And that's it. It's a very basic proposal.
So all when you talk about unmodified versus modified, modified means air conditioner.
Right.
Okay.
Somebody cut through the existing wood spandrel panel to put in their AC, usually leaving two slivers of wood on either side.
And all of the other 17 are wood. Now, is that correct?
That's right. All of the panels that haven't been modified are the original wood. Some of them are in worse condition than others, but they're all failing.
They're all wood.
The original ones are wood, right? There's actually, well, let me point out too, if you might have noticed, some of you might have noticed that the 15th floor also features grill, balconette, faux balconette railings below windows, and those are backed by brick. I have a little appendix here. This is what the 15th floor condition is. So we've got, obviously it's just a way to kind of punctuate the facade with a similar metalwork element that is used elsewhere. It's a carpenter building. There are these, bas relief panels, and kind of similar masonry, water tables, etc., punctuating the facade. These railings happen to punctuate the 2nd and 15th floors, spandrel areas, and up here we've got a brick surround with brick behind the railing. So and if anyone was curious what was going on up at the top of the facade, that's what's happening there.
We're only concerned with the bottom.
Sure. That's right. And so this proposal is only concerned with the 2nd floor, right?
Jump in.
This is a master plan, so do we have a sense of, are any shareholders chomping at the bit to actually change out these panels?
Currently, there's actually a alteration going on that affects the Riverside Drive facade, where a shareholder is eliminating a through wall location, and that location is actually being prepped to receive what we hope is going to be one of the limestone panels. At an adjacent room in the same apartment, they're proposing to replace an existing sleeve with a new one, and we're priming them to be ready to provide a full width louver if this proposal is approved, so that we can start that regularization process off the bat.
How many of these are you proposing to replace with this application?
Yes. 25. I'm sorry, 35. My apologies. So there are 17 at the west facade. All 17 existing unmodified panels throughout the 3 facades would be replaced in one go. So it would be a whole list. It would be 17 at the west facade, and then 18 at the north and south, and then 17 at the west, right? So that's 35 total.
And all will be replaced.
This is the proposal is to replace all of the existing untouched wood panels, right? So we would be basically starting with a complete replacement of the wood panels that haven't been penetrated by through wall ACs, and then over time, if somebody replaces an existing through wall AC, the master plan component of this would prescribe that they get a louver that occupies the entire width of that spandrel opening.
Okay, so it's 35 now.
Correct.
Question, yeah.
So this isn't a master plan. This is an actual complete replacement. It's not like there's.
I think what the preservationists at LPC intended by calling it a master plan was just to have a plan in place for locations that are not at the same, the 2nd floor spandrels, right? Locations that might be changed in the future, because folks with existing through LECs are likely to maintain those sleeves, right? And want to change out those louvers. And I think they wanted to look at this location holistically, not just the ones that are unmodified, but the entire floor's worth of spandrels of the type. They wanted to have a plan in place so that when somebody comes to them with a proposal for a new through wall or to replace an existing one, that there's some regularization and some sort of plan in place. That's what they're calling it, a master plan.
Yeah, it's really irrelevant to this application. It's just kind of confusing things.
Oh, okay. They wanted us to address it, but I'm happy to just talk about the ones that we're replacing with limestone.
Right.
So if I could, go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm going to say that calling it a master plan is confusing. I mean, all we're concerned about is replacing the wood with the limestone. What Landmarks is saying is that in they want a master plan for louvers, for the people that replace the current air conditioning louvers or opening.
I know what
It's
you
a
mean.
separate,
Yep.
it's a separate thing.
Yep.
I'm being compelled to present to them all of the options that they're hearing, but you know, if we could just talk about the limestone proposal, that's fine.
So I could
me.
jump in on the limestone part of this. I'm wondering about the color of the limestone, because limestone on the main facade obviously has weathered over the years. So even if you went to the same quarry, it probably wouldn't look the same. I imagine the effect is mitigated somewhat by these lovely decorative iron things. But have you given any thought to having a slightly contrasting color, like a granite instead of a limestone, or some other, darker or lighter shade, so it doesn't look like it's trying to match and then failing?
No, I mean, I think, the Indiana limestone that we have available is essentially the same. If you clean the existing stone, it's extremely close to original. It's going to have some weathering and some soiling or that won't be removed. You can get buff or gray limestone, right? And this facade features both. You can see it, especially in the photo on the left. You can see that there's some more, limestone that's a grayer and some that's more of a buff. It clearly will look cleaner than the adjacent stone, but in other applications, right? If we were replacing existing limestone with new limestone, it should match. And the intent would be if you, clean the older stone, it'll brighten up and get pretty close to the new stone, and the new stone over time will soil a little bit with atmospheric soiling, and it'll get pretty close. But we're the goal was to use the same material. We did propose GFRC or some other material like that, but that was pretty roundly rejected for various reasons. I think GFRC doesn't weather great, and it doesn't match well to stone. So I think that was the other option that we kind of tossed around, and limestone was definitely preferred by the preservationists at LPC. I understand your concern, but I think it'll be a close match, and if the building does clean the lower 3 floors of the facade, I think it'll match really quite well to the original stone.
Other questions?
I just want to understand, this is to replace 35. Okay. Wooden with the
line.
Two questions. One is the scope of work really stops halfway up the window. So the upper part, the ornamental arch with the carving, I'm assuming is limestone.
That's actually terracotta. You're talking
So
about I'm sorry, the lancet panel. Oops, I'm sorry.
Yes, it's the lancet panel.
The lancet panel is actually terracotta.
So that's not in question. And the surrounds going that frame it are also limestone.
This is all, yes, right. The plaster, the sill, and the materials framing the lancet up to the sill above, that's all limestone, right?
And the only other question I have is that for those windows that have the window air conditioner jammed up at the bottom sashes, those are going to be lowered and put behind the basket weaving, or left to be visible, hopefully with a new model of.
No, well, this photo on the right actually is interesting because this building has a policy or a house rule about not allowing window air conditioners, but some folks, as you can see, get kind of quote unquote get away with it. It's there aren't many window ACs in the building at all. Most of them are in the court walls. That's actually not supposed, for what it's worth, that's not supposed to be there. I don't know if so that's a good example of a location. If the co-op decided to enforce their own rules, right? The shareholder might propose to put a through wall you see in the spandrel panel in question.
Be prepared.
But this, yeah, but this, you know, they're window ACs are not, you know, in the LPC jurisdiction, and right, so
Right.
well, it remains to be seen how many folks will be installing through walls. I think, you know, that several of the apartments on this floor are landlocked. I think particularly on 89th Street and 90th Street because of the configuration of the floor plans. Some of these apartments don't have access to court wall windows at all. And so if they do want to add air conditioning that is not in the window, like what you see here, they don't have access to court walls to install central air. There are other, you know, there are apartments in this building. You might be aware of this. I don't know if anyone's had to present to you, probably not for this, but certainly LPC has seen applications for central air in apartments that involves taking a court wall window and putting a, you know, air handling unit or condensers in that window, and then putting it so that they can put air handlers throughout the apartment. That way they don't sacrifice the street facade, put a window unit in or put a through wall in. So
is there a master plan then for this whole building to give the for AC types to help them? That would be useful.
You mean at filed at LPC?
Yeah.
No.
It would be, because that would make our life easier, because there would already be a protocol for anything above a second story window or a third story window or a top window without with the beautiful carvings, because it really is still very much intact.
Right.
Good
So
luck.
the building, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, let's call the
Let's
question.
call.
All right, let's.
Mark? Mark?
Here I am. Yes, I'm just unmuting. The answer is yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Jay?
Stay.
Paige?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm yes.
5-0 with the what?
5-0-1.
You have a date with your friends at LPC?
Thank you all. Appreciate that. Yes, January 24th.
24. Okay. Tell Marty Griggs we said hi.
I will. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
That's it.
One
All
more.
right. Thanks. Happy
Thank you.
holidays, all. Thank you.
We
I'm not presenting online.
Oh, okay, good.
And the description's incorrect.
Okay, well,
Sounds like it's online building and it's not.
we'll have a chance to
Yes.
hear from you for sure. Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thanks for being so patient.
Yeah, that's exactly. Although we're not doing terrible considering.
Some words.
825, yeah, I'm sorry. You're right.
Okay. 40 West 106. Anybody here to present? I think we have some community people to speak on this, plus some pictures.
Good evening, Andre Krell is here for the West 106th Street.
Okay.
Share my screen. Can everybody see my screen, please?
Yeah.
Okay, great. This is the 4 stories house in the Manhattan Avenue Historic District. My name is Andre Krehel. I'm the owner of the building. And the
Screen.
It was.
It was.
Can we see your name again? It went away.
oh,
There,
my name is Andre Krehel, and I am the owner of the building. Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me well?
Yeah, very well.
Okay, great. Thank you. This is the proposed installation of a rear balcony with fire escape stairs. This is the location in the building in the city in the on the 106th Street. and intersection of a Central Park West and Manhattan Avenue. This is a front facade of the building. It's a row house in a revival Gothic type of a style. So it's a middle section of the 3 row houses that you actually see. It was used by the doctors around 1900s, living in the area and serving hospice at the end of the block. This is the section that you can see the roof. We're looking at a number 40. There is another neighbor, building 38 and 42. This is the aerial view of the block, and in a position with which you can see the historical Manhattan Avenue that's kind of facing your view, and then on the sides you see 106th Street, 105th, and a little bit of the hospice that's being remodeled to a condo. Now this is location of the block plan with a lot 143. This is the rear facade of the building as it was, and the balcony would be at the level of the rooftop terrace balcony that you see on right next to it, which is a building 38. Now you see also the pictures from the front. The backyard is excavated. So basically at the parole, like a first level, around feet lower is the opposite section of the building, of the neighborhood building. This is the existing building cross-section, and this is the existing building cross-section. The stairs is into the entrance to the house is on the first floor. There's no entrance on the second or third floor. So this is a 2-family house. It's divided into the 2 families. So one family lives on the second and third floor. Installation is on the second floor, and a basement and a first floor is a separate unit. All right, this is the proposed balcony with the fire escape stairs. So the balcony would be installed at a second level. There is a pillar that supports from the neighbor, so it's not constructually attached in any way to the neighbor. In a rear facade, there is like a concrete level already on that floor, so it would be attached into the building, and then the stairs, the fire escape stair, would go around the L shape of the building and coming into the excavated backyard. The elevation, I believe, is on or around either 16 or 18 feet, the pillar on the right side from the neighbor. And and then the balcony, the egress point would be a sliding door. Let me show you, please, the material. Okay, this is a proposed second floor and existing second floor, right, in it. And this is existing building cross section for the window. So there will be literally just minor change below the window on the rear facade, and with the installation of the sliding door balcony window in that section. None of it would be visible from any corner of any of the block, right? So this would be at the rear section of the house, and none of it would be visible from any of the sections if you're walking in historical district. Proposed material is a sliding door. This is a commercial thermal break aluminum sliding door. Musata steel rail. So according to the building code, the steel would be used, the steel material would be used for the construction. That's what the code requires. Then the frame is built from hard roll structural channel. And the pillar is built from carbon steel tube, which is hard rolled. These are different type of the second level rooftop terraces of the other brownstones. And then with the red mark, you can see where the proposed installation is. So there are on around like 6, 7 different type of terraces built on that second level. One of the reasons could be that, this is in a hill. So the hill is almost like a 3-story high when it's coming from 106 to 105. So most of the backyards is actually excavated at those houses, right? So the basement is almost like a buried, and the first level, if the proportion to, for example, the building in front of us, it's almost the top of that first level is basically where the ground is on 105th Street. And this is some of the view of the terraces that are at the other neighboring houses in that section, in the rear section of the district. That is all for my presentation.
Question, do you have a picture side by side of the existing and the proposed rear facade?
I believe so. Let me go back to slides. So this is the proposed with the balcony, if that's what you're asking. So this is the balcony, is this section, and then existing is this one, cross section. And this is where the
first floor. The first floor has the only stairway and middle one. But there, yeah. Existing one.
Or does that go below grade?
That's a basement.
Yeah, on the basement level.
So is this going to create then so that the occupants of the top 2 floors are going to share the rear yard?
The rear yard can be divided. It doesn't have to be shared for those occupants. The yard is also kind of like a terrace based. So basically there is one section of the backyard, second and a third. So basically there can be just simple divider where each occupant takes different part of different terraces. It doesn't have to be shared.
Can you show the proposed next to it or show it again?
Yes,
Please.
sure.
Yes,
Is the I'm trying to make sense of this too, and I saw the diagram before the meeting, and I apologize, I can't make sense of what's going on here. Is the terrace going proud of the L extension into the rear yard?
That is correct. So let me show you one more. Right, so this is the L extension in the building. It's kind of maybe not as visible, right? So the terrace is really on the same level as rooftop terrace of the neighbor. Maybe like a little bit feet or 2 feet lower because this is a rooftop terrace.
Right, so there's a parapet.
Yeah, exactly. And then basically the stair goes around the L section going to the backyard.
Right, but I guess what I'm reacting to, don't go away from that slide. Go back there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah. Anyway, I guess what so the terrace doesn't just come out to the depth of the L extension. It actually comes out even further into the backyard in order to give access to the down to the sideways version of the staircase before it turns the corner and heads to the backyard. Do I have that right?
So only the extension for only 2 feet of it is like 3 feet, 2 feet, 30 inches by 30 inches. It's extension on nearby corner of the L extension. So it's not the terrace, not holistically. It looks like a zigzag, like this section. Let me just throw it for you.
Let me ask you a different way before are you building, are you infilling the space next to the L extension such that the top of it becomes the terrace and then the terrace sticks out a little further into the rear yard in order to allow the east-west, or I guess in this case, it's east-west part of the staircase down, and then there's a north-south
so terrace is
from
not
there?
so terrace is not sticking out. At the corner, there's gonna be almost like an island, small island that's sticking out that's allow access to the stairs. And I believe there is a drawing. Let me see if there's a drawing here.
I'm not getting this, and I'm sorry, I'm being dense.
Right here in this section. See, so this section here is coming into the extended for the stairs. Just this section here.
Okay, and are you? But that whole thing, that terrace, is that on top of an infill of the below, or is it simply a platform that's sticking out of the building without a building underneath it? I'm saying it badly, but I hope you get the idea.
Yes, there is nothing beneath that, sir. So they're basically standing on a pillars. It's coming out of the building. So
there's
no
pillars.
breaks.
I'm sorry. Where are the pillars?
So there is a pillar. So this is a pillar, and in this section there are 3 pillars that are attached into the alcove section of the building, and then in a rear facade, there is a concrete on that floor. So that basically it's coming and it's attached in that floor, into concrete into the floor.
Is it, in fact, it's a cantilever, the terrace?
No, not if there's a pillar. Not if there's a pillar.
Right.
Where's the pillar? Is the pillar at the edge, or Jay's got a good point? Is it a cantilever, or is it a pillar at the edge that supports this thing?
It's at the edge that supports the balcony.
So only the part that leads to the staircase is a cantilever off of that.
That is correct.
Okay. Wow, I didn't get that from the drawing. Sorry.
And there also and there is another platform, and that platform is supporting on 4 pillars. So these platforms, there are there's a measurement here. I believe it's like 30 inches by 30 inches each. And so the second platform is basically also 30 by 30 inches with the metal stairs coming on each side. It's on 4 pillars. So from when the engineer designed it, he said that this would actually stand on its own, but we're gonna add this reinforcement at the corner anyway, just to be safe.
So do you have a precedent anywhere in a townhouse on the Upper West Side where they've done something like this?
Oh, there's a lot like that.
With the freestanding balcony, Peter, I've seen it on top of L extensions that have been infilled, but I've never seen this. You've seen that, Peter?
Please don't.
Looks out. That's very simple.
Okay. I'll shut up.
Building next door.
Hold on, we're gonna get.
I know what it's supposed to look like.
My question, we're almost done with committee questions, but my question is, how far out does that lower part of the stairway intrude into the rear yard?
Oh, to the backyard. I believe is 7 or 8 feet. It's not going that far away because it's basically broken into 2 pieces. It might look on a picture here there's a little bit bigger piece, but because it's broken in 2 pieces, I could provide exact measurement. I don't have it right now in front of me, but I can send the exact measurement.
Thanks. Well, we haven't heard from the community yet, and Paige has a question, but then we'll vote.
The staircase, obviously, one of the things that confuses me is in the rear rendition of where the windows go, you have a vertical line that seems to indicate that it's not a level wall, right? So where the windows are in alignment, that sticks out because we don't have a plan to show where the windows are in relation to the sliding glass door with the staircase that comes down almost 2 stories. So do you have a plan of that to show how that works?
Which one more time, please? You mean the balcony egress or the window?
To see a bifurcated rear facade, because normally that indicates either a protrusion or a recess. So the question is, my first question is the building elevation, that brick wall, all in one plane, except for the stairs?
I apologize. Maybe I don't understand clearly the question. One more time.
Okay.
There's
Well-
an existing L extension.
It's an existing house.
Yes, but we don't know how far it comes out and where the staircase is in relation to that.
Oh, okay, so the extension measurement is almost like, I believe it's a 9.5 feet. It comes out of the wall.
Okay,
You have the width of the staircase.
right.
That adds to that.
I
And
understand
then
that.
you have the
But
length of the
not-
staircase coming down.
Yes, but the problem is that it extends more. There you go. No, that's the
Oh,
wrong.
it extends more.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
It
that's-
it
that's
extends
helpful.
more than you typically see for access to rear yards.
Well, because
It's
it's coming in,
two-story.
because it's
You're going
unexpected.
2 stories.
That's
It's
helpful.
unusual.
Yeah,
That's all I
because of
wanted
the
to see.
cantilever that comes out.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
Thank you.
You're very
should've-
welcome. And this also explained maybe one of the questions I wasn't explaining. So it's basically the facade, the balcony is at that same right. So kind of like a lining up with the facade, but that standing platform that goes to the stairs, it's kind of like an island that's going out, a little bit out, right, of the balcony.
I did not see the second floor. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I think the stair is much too long going into the yard. It probably should have another landing or should be turned again at a right angle, like the top of it. I think it just, I don't know how far into the property it goes, but it looks huge, like, must be a good 10 or 12 feet in height.
I can
It's
provide
not-
exact measurement, but it's also this is the landing platform, it's not stairs. So this is attached to 4 pillars, and we consulted with engineer. There's another section of 2 pillars in the middle that basically would be grounded into the concrete, right, in it. So and it was proposed that this would be actually sufficient just to go around, also for the purpose just going around that edge, just basically come down and
But it's really.
as a
I don't
one
like
pad.
it. I don't like it.
Okay, anybody else?
We have community people ready to talk on.
Right, so let's.
That's right. Yes, I'm trying to figure out which of these long missives I'm supposed to read, but I am supposed to read something on behalf of someone into the record. Which I think it's this one. Did you guys want me to just go ahead and read this, or how would you like me, Madge and Kay, to handle this?
One from Liz Keller.
Yes, that's correct.
Have we all read this?
Yeah, have we all read it?
Since you read the letter,
Did
Liz
you
Keller?
read Liz Keller's letter?
I'm looking to see who was on the thread. Actually, it seems like it was sent externally to other people. I know Seema had sent this to me, and I think Madge and Kay had seen it.
I think we were all on it. I got it.
Okay. There's also a picture I can share screen of as well that I think I was asked to share. Can I do that?
Please.
Okay, sure. I'm just gonna stop your sharing for a sec. And the formatting of this picture. Oh, actually, I think. Let me see. I'm gonna try this. Hold on. And I'll make it bigger. Just give it a second to kind of load here. Oh, too big. Can everyone see this?
Wow.
I'll leave it up for just a couple more seconds here.
Max, can you Anna narrate what are we looking at?
There was no instructions on what exactly we're looking at. I don't think I can go back to the email and look. Hang on.
Is this an existing condition?
I think it's.
I believe that's the idea. Yes.
That's not a mock-up, in other words. That's an existing condition. So they've already built the thing that they're proposing to build, just not in a permanent way.
Correct. I'm just looking through the email. Thanks, Max. Sounds great. Here's the picture Elizabeth shared with me. No, I'm sorry, Mark. There's no other description, but it sounds like you're correct.
What it looks like.
Can we see it
Yeah.
again?
Yeah, no problem. Just give me a sec. Sorry about that. It's formatting weird, so it's just taking a minute.
Yeah, well, that's really a good idea of what it is. Including the balcony. The staircase.
Including the recess, including the AC, and probably 39 steps.
So is this a legalization or is this a new application?
We had a stop working order, and this is legalization.
That's a crazy stair. That's a
Normally, you would
crazy
have
one.
to have by law.
So you started building this? Whoops, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Paige. Go ahead.
No, usually.
No,
when
it
you
should
have
be
these-
illegal.
It is, because you need a landing. But I don't know if no. We don't have any drawings that supports that this
You
was.
can't do this.
Are you sure, Peter? Because my apartment looks out on a metal staircase in one direction leading from the second floor to a rear yard. And I can't swear to you that it's as lengthy as this one, but it's got to be close.
It's easily 20 rungs, and we can't even see the top of it because it turns to go the other way.
Yeah.
And
It's
well,
too high.
Isn't there a requirement to have a landing after so many stairs?
correct. I don't know what it is, but there is one.
Well, let's ask. Let's ask the author.
Okay.
Is it legal?
Yeah, it's illegal.
Not that architect, the other architect.
You gotta
I
be
don't
more
think
specific.
we could talk anymore.
No.
We have the building.
Where is he?
That's.
I don't think we have a separate architect.
Is he still here?
Real? Yeah.
Mr. Creel?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, is that?
Mr. Krell's the
stair-
owner, isn't he?
That is correct.
Is that staircase legal? That staircase?
He's the owner, not the architect.
Oh, okay.
But there is a stop work order on it.
Was the
Apparently
stop
with
work
good
order
reason.
issued by buildings or building department or by LPC or both or what?
Max, excuse me, Max, does Elizabeth Kelman's letter talk about that? Doesn't it talk about the stuff?
Let me just toggle over to that screen and give me a sec.
Also, Seema, are you going to speak? Seema?
Hi, no, I'm listening. But Elizabeth asked me to make sure that her, she, I think, wanted to have her testimony read out into the record, but if that's not appropriate, I'm sure that's fine.
Why don't you read it since we're on YouTube?
Sorry, I had myself muted. I'm happy to do that if the committee wants.
Sure. As well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's on the lengthy side, and recognizing it's non-standard for us to do this, but I will read through it and not skip. Neighbors, please note that next Thursday, CB7 Preservation Landmarks Committee will hold a hearing on the request from the owner of 40-106 in parentheses Middle House between CPW and Manhattan Ave, close parentheses, for certain changes to the exterior rear facade of the property. I've been following this for months. In fact, full disclosure, I was the person who called the building department about the construction of the exterior staircase last May. DOB showed up the same day and issued a stop work order. It is very important that neighbors, especially adjacent property owners, express their opinion. If you scroll down the link below, you will see what the owner is proposing for the property, which previously he was attempting to do without proper permits. The staircase is partially constructed already. Please let me know if you would like a photo of what this looks like. There are paper notices of the meeting posted on lampposts around the neighborhood. This is what I know as background. The owner and his wife, Mr. Krell and his wife are the owners. They closed on the house in April 2022. They and their 2 children reside at 400 Central Park West, which is one of the northernmost buildings in Park West Village. In October 2022, Mr. Krell also purchased 137 Manhattan Avenue through an LLC from Ted Mertz and his wife. They have been renting out that property since April. 40 West 106 was in need of a great deal of work. The owners have made a decision to create a rental unit on the garden floor and the rear floor and to occupy for themselves the rest of the house. They have not yet moved in and are still doing work. Their post-purchase design decision meant that the owners would have no access to the rear yard, which is why they are proposing a terrace and are very long, almost 3-story exterior staircase from the second floor all the way to the garden floor. This was entirely a post-purchase decision by them in terms of the layout they chose for rental and owner occupancy, as the house was delivered empty and has been pretty much gutted. Just 2 more paragraphs. Personally, I think the terrace is fine, but the almost 3-story metal staircase is ugly and atrocious and is completely unnecessary, exclusively the product of the decisions they made in a gut renovation without investigating what was permissible and required in terms of permits. Mr. Krell also owns a row house in East Harlem, so he's not a naive property owner. He has a compelling personal narrative as an immigrant and is quite accomplished in his field. I saw the paper notice posted at 106 and Manhattan this afternoon. Thanks, everyone. If you want a photo, let me know, and I guess that is the photo.
Thank you.
All right.
The letter that I saw is basically a different letter.
Glad I read it then.
I pulled up the building violation.
Wish I had the phone.
Doug, you want to speak?
Yeah, I pulled up the building violation on public record. It was entered in May 15th, 2023. Landmark building, illegal work, partial stop work order, inspection was on 5/15. And it says here, violation ID on 5/15, construct is active work without a permit, noted at exposure number 3 rear yard, new steel posts erected to support new steel framing at 2nd floor elevation, and new steel stringers and landings, additionally structural steel mechanically. That's all I have, unless, well, there's a link to the violation, but it's here. Yeah.
Okay.
So this violation was they didn't have the proper permits, not because of the construction.
Right. Just stop looking for it.
Oh, yeah.
Partial stuff.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
Let them weigh in on that.
Are there any other public speakers? Are there any other public speakers?
So my question is, we still don't know if that stairway is legal the way it's planned. Peter says no.
I'd say no as well, because you're supposed to break.
It's not legal.
Oh, whether or not it's legal, the question before us is whether it's appropriate, and I would give it a resounding no. So, and I don't think that particular configuration of a terrace is appropriate to a rear yard of a townhouse in an historic district either. So
Let's
that would
not
be
waste any more time.
that's where I was going, Peter. I was going to suggest a resolution to disapprove on those 2 bases.
Disapprove. I disapprove.
Thank you, Peter.
I think Peter disapproves.
I think so. I'm getting
Okay,
the feeling.
so Mark is a no. Peter is.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Oh,
Mark's proposing
Why not introduce what you're voting?
a resolution.
go.
Mark,
Improperly, by the way, I might add.
why don't you do it then, Jay?
I could, but I don't want to give legitimacy.
Probably.
We're past that.
We're past
Somebody like to.
Ship sailed.
So the resolution I propose is a resolution to disapprove because both the staircase's materials and its penetration into the rear yard and the materials and construction of the terrace are inappropriate to the character of the historic district. That would be the resolution I would propose. I'm hoping someone will second it.
Second.
Second.
I think we can call the question.
Call the question.
Okay, let's call it now. Mark?
I'm yes on the resolution to disapprove.
Peter?
Yes. Disapprove.
Jay?
Yes.
Abstain. Paige?
Yes, disapprove.
And Dave?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 5-0 to 1. 0.
Am I allowed to speak?
Of course, and also let us know if you have a date with our landmark friends.
I do. I had an architect who I paid, and he did this drawing with the engineer. He did not work diligently to submit all the paperwork. I actually got a ticket and I showed it to Landmark. I worked on this presentation with the Landmark Commission. At the same time, the same neighbor who is complaining met me on a street and said that the immigrants, and I want that bit on a record as well, immigrants like myself who came from a former Eastern Bloc are not welcome in the neighborhood. And whatever is going to be the power, immigrants like me not going to be living on the block. She also inappropriately approached my children in derogatory and condescending way, and had to be informed not to do that. The same way she said she's going to research all the properties and submit the claim, which she did, and she did call DOB. She also called my neighbors, had to bring my drawings and show what was proposed originally in the drawings, and I did that with actually my neighbor, Luis, who is sitting at the table, and explain her what I am proposing. I was very clear about the construction.
Mr. Krell, was that the same constituent whose testimony that I just read into the record? Do you know?
That is correct.
Thank you.
So if I could jump in on that, I'm very, very sorry to hear that Ms. Kellner did any of the things that you just accused her of. I'm glad that we took our vote before we knew any of that. And I think that my objections to it had nothing to do with your wherever it is that you've come from. I don't care. It has everything to do with the way in which a townhouse rear yard ought to be arranged and modified.
Yes.
So I'm sorry that you had that experience. It doesn't change how this approaches. I do think that you should have some strong words with your architect and your engineer for doing work on a townhouse in an historic district without in any way getting the permits that they should know they should get. I'm not faulting you for that because that's why you hire experts. But it seems like your experts let you down here. And so that would be my next phone call, assuming that the Landmarks Commission agrees with our recommendation. So again, sorry, very much sorry to hear that our community had words that don't apply or shouldn't be a part of this conversation. But I think that the action that we've taken is consistent with what this committee typically does. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, I have to say something on the
Thank
record.
you. Yeah.
I know I'm not close to either of them, but I know Doug and Elizabeth Kellner. I've known them for years, and again, I'm not close to them. I worked with Doug Kellner in Albany many years ago when he was counsel to one of our neighboring facilities in Denny Fowler, in the state park is the name of it, and he was counsel to the Manhattan Democratic. And I know Vincent, she's appeared before this board on various issues. I'm shocked to hear that, and I take it with a very large grain of salt because it's hard to imagine that occurred in the way it did. I can't opine on either one of their credibility, because I don't know what happened, but just want the record to state that it's difficult for me to accept that that happened. And since none of us can verify it one way or another, I suggest we take it with a grain of salt. And even though I'm going to abstain on the resolution, I can vouch for the fact that my colleagues would never condone such behavior or take it into consideration in voting on the resolution.
Can I ask a question? So are you saying that you cannot have a balcony on a second floor with stairs down?
No, you can't.
And you have a spiral staircase?
Yeah.
But it has to have breaks so that somebody who's in a hurry, a child, an elderly person can rest. And usually you have it as 3 to 4 feet. And this is just a straight line. So
Well, it runs about maybe, I mean, I live next door, so I know how, so he's infilled. His extension was before they bought it, but maybe 20 years ago, they built it all the way up to the roof. So my extension is just on the first floor. So he's infilling between my extension and his. And that is, I think Andre said it was about 9.5 feet. On the inside, it's about, wow, I don't even know. Well, it doesn't really matter. Yes, about 8. Yeah, that's about right.
It's
so then he's infilled and then he's put a platform. He's supported that infill on his building and then on a steel beam. Right, but it is up onto the second floor and our ceilings are 11 feet, so, and 10 feet, so it is high. Then it runs down so it extends out and then the stairs run down the base of his extension, which is about 8 or 9 feet wide. And then turns, has a platform and turns and then runs down maybe another 8 feet. I'm just asking the question because I don't know.
I can
say, it's just.
With code.
Yes, I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm asking. So you're not allowed to do that in a backyard or, I mean,
it's a trip.
If I wanted to do that.
If you were having an emergency in the middle of the night and you needed
somebody
to
had
escape,
egress.
you would find yourself tripping and falling. That's why we have the platforms are guided by code so that people can exit safely.
And this would not be approved until by landmarks. If it has
I sure am.
It hasn't cleared buildings.
Right. But
So either it's going to be, if it's legal, it's legal before landmarks considers appropriateness. It has to be. It has to clear buildings.
So you're saying as architect and engineer should have known that the way they're constructing it wouldn't
Yes,
be
absolutely.
by the building.
Absolutely.
But that
nothing
could have been.
I don't know.
It has nothing.
No,
to do
I
with
know.
land.
Well, I
It has to do
can
with
tell
safety
you.
and firefighting.
So I can't tell you how many modifications have been done to the houses,
Yeah.
including extra stories and all sorts
I'm
of
sure
stuff.
there are that we noticed that landmarks.
Right. I mean,
Nobody except the rest.
the house behind me has an entire building built in the backyard.
So-
I mean, it's not.
But
We'll answer
very
that.
good.
Yeah, can I say something?
Actually, everyone, I just need to interject. We are past time, unfortunately. Hurish Studios has been pretty heavy-handed in
Yes,
terms
I'm
of
saying
having
goodbye.
that firm 9 o'clock deadline.
Enough is
It's not even a
enough.
matter of going over.
I'd just like to say, make a very quick comment and end it, if I may, Max, and anybody else. I just want to say that I associate myself with the comments that Mark made. I'm glad this vote took place after that information or the allegations that this applicant made. Personally, I care more about the allegations than I even do that staircase, because if there is truth to it, I suggest, and I also appreciate what Jay said, knowing, giving people the benefit of the doubt. I don't know anyone here other than my fellow board members. So I would tell you, sir, if what you said was true, you should pursue any angle legal you have, including calling New York City human rights, if that is correct. This community abhors that kind of language. And again, the rejection of your application here has absolutely nothing to do with what you said, what you told us.
Yeah.
I agree.
I will let, or have Max notify Elizabeth, suggest that she listen on YouTube to what transpired here, and suggest that if she wishes, she can forward a response to the board so that we at least hear both sides, if there are two sides to this.
Sure,
But
I can do that.
A serious allegation, but she
It
should
absolutely
certainly
is.
be given the opportunity to respond. I know I would want to.
Sure.
And I think that that's very fair, given that we all know Elizabeth, or at least I do, as a person of integrity. And I'm sorry to hear this allegation. I'll leave it at that.
Yep.
Right. But we all know that that shouldn't happen.
Yep.
Anyway, okay, so we're officially adjourning this meeting. And then we'll chit chat.
Okay.
Okay.
Good night.
Thanks, Max.
Thank you, everybody.